If there's one thing that this film has that is truly mesmerizing, is that it has one of the best screams of all time. Death Note. So Death Note is a live action adaptation of the anime Death Note. Now, as someone for me who hasn't watched the anime, I was like, okay, I have no attachment to the story or to the characters or anything like that. So going in, I was like, okay, I just like the concept. There was backlash because unfortunately, they didn't cast an Asian lead for the film. Instead, they just got an all-white cast. And at this point, with the film coming out, all you can hope for is it good or not? Before I start this review, I just gotta say, if you weren't a fan of the film, that's fine, but there's no reason for you to send death threats to the director. Recognize that these are actually human beings behind the camera. Alright? They actually have feelings too, believe it or not. Look, at the end of the day, it's just a freaking film. Now, with that being said, what did I think of Death Note? I thought it was pretty okay. Let's start off with the positives first. For what the actors were given, I thought they did a decent job in playing their characters. Like Nat Wolff playing Light Turner, I thought he was good. Like for what his character was supposed to be this weird outcast, this guy who's clearly not tough at all. I thought he did a good job in playing that. And Lakeith Stanfield, I thought he did a good job in playing L. There's just one scene where L and Light finally meet. And while the dialogue in that scene is not particularly great, Lakeith Stanfield does a great job in selling those lines. I was like, okay. I also thought the actress who played Mia, she did a good job in playing this really crazy chick who's just obsessed with death. For me, the standout character and actor in this film was definitely Willem Dafoe as Ryuk. Now, I've heard from people saying that they weren't too big of a fan of how Ryuk was portrayed in this film compared to how he was in the anime. But for me, as someone who hasn't seen the anime, I don't know how he was. But for me, in this film, I freaking loved him. He was just awesome. Every time he came on screen, I was just having a blast. I was like, man, I could tell Willem Dafoe was having a great time. And there were definitely a lot of times I was like, okay, what is Green Goblin doing here? I also really like the design of Ryuk. I thought it was really interesting. This film, it has a lot of songs from the 80s, which are really cool. And while there are some that don't necessarily go well with the scenes, there are definitely a lot of them that go well. And the score of the film has this retro 80s feel to it. It was definitely really cool to hear. The film definitely had a real nice look to it, and there was a lot of these neon colors, a lot of blue and reds. That's my aesthetic. I love it when films have that, and it looked really nice. And the deaths in the film are pretty much like Final Destination deaths, and I enjoyed it. You know, the film went for it. Like, there are moments in the film where I was really enjoying myself, where it wasn't bad at all. There are some weird choices that were made for this film, and I can't help but think, if this was done intentionally by the director Adam Wingard. Think about it. You're telling me that this film's supposed to be dead serious, supposed to be an intense thriller with scenes like this? And to me, I could obviously be wrong, but it looks like he was like, might as well just go crazy with this film. But when you look at those scenes, you're like, okay, yeah, I don't think this film is trying to be taken as seriously as some people are thinking it's trying to do. You'll have some scenes where like, okay, why is Light having the death note in front of a gym where everybody can see? Well, it's like, well, this is an edgy teenager, a kid who's not really thinking straight. And you have Mia, who's this crazy, obsessed chick with death. You know, she just wants to kill people. And you're like, okay, their relationship, Mia and Light, just happens out of nowhere. They just love each other out of nowhere. And it's like, well, you could say that maybe Adam Wingard is saying like, look, this is how most relationships in high school are. So I could see where Adam Wingard was going with this film. A lot of those things just didn't work for me. Towards the end of the film, we're trying to be emotional. And with Mia and Light, you're like, I don't give a shit. Because there was no development with the relationship at all. And in that final scene, you have an 80s song that's playing that, yeah, the lyrics go with the scene, but it just feels out of place. And there are a lot of moments in the film where the dialogue just isn't that great. There wasn't a lot of things that the film gave time to develop. When Mia and Light used the death note to kill people, I felt that scene in particular, the montage, was rushed, honestly. Like, I wish would have got a little bit more time with that. And like how I said, there are some weird choices that were made in this film. Like, you have this chase scene, which I liked, that's at the end of the film. You're kind of taken away from it because there's these weird things that the characters do. Like, I'm not even kidding you, at one point, there's this guy, he's eating the soup, and he's running in this restaurant, he just pushes this guy's face on the soup, and it's like, was that necessary? I mean, it just takes you out of the film, especially from a scene that was doing a good job at being intense. Like, as I was watching the film, I was like, okay, this is a really cool concept that I don't think was used to its full potential. I get what Adam Wingard was trying to go for, but for me personally, it just didn't work with me. So I'm gonna give Death Note a solid C. If you have nothing to do and you're looking on Netflix like, okay, what should I watch? Maybe then I would say, yeah, give it a watch, but you don't have to see Death Note. So guys, that was my review for Death Note. What did you guys think of the film? Did you guys like it or you guys didn't like it? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for taking the time out of the day to watch my video. As always, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day.